so glad you're here for the Living Years, where we have made it to my top 10 favorite films of 1978. Martin Scorsese and the Band start us off at number 10 with The Last Waltz. It's one of the greatest concert films of all time. It features a who's who of famous guests along the way, including Neil Young, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, and so many others. In the ninth spot is George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. I was really looking forward to this zombie classic, and it did not disappoint. The mall and everything it represents is perfect. I love how the movie drops you immediately into the chaos with little to no context. I loved the whimsical score, the ever-increasing gore, and pretty much everything about it. At number 8 is the cult classic Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. It may be a low-budget B-movie filmed and edited poorly, but it is a comedic masterpiece. Much like 1977's Kentucky Fried Movie, this is an early example of the absurd but clever humor that will be perfected later in classics like Airplane and Naked Gun. Jackie Chan's breakout Drunken Master is at number 7. This was not his first film, but it was the one that thrust him into the spotlight, and it is incredible. His style of kung fu blends the classic physical comedy of folks like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin with amazingly intricate fight choreography that at times feels more like ballet. The Wiz is my 6th favorite film of 78. I loved this movie as a kid. It's really hard to be critical about it. It's so unique and so weird. I love the urban setting. I love the costume designs. There are a few more filler songs than I remember, which makes the movie feel a little too long. But the great moments are unforgettable, particularly the popular Ease On Down the Road, and the huge celebration number, Can You Feel a Brand New Day? Michael Jackson's performance is amazing, particularly the physicality that he brings to the lanky, wobbly scarecrow. The Academy's Best Picture is my 5th favorite, and that's Deer Hunter. It's a great movie. I'd only seen it one other time back in my 20s, and it was even better than I remembered. This time I found a greater appreciation for the unusually lengthy time spent in the first part of the movie as the friends party together at a wedding. It makes that abrupt transition into the harsh series of events in Vietnam seem that much more unsettling. It's a tough film to watch as these friends realize that nothing could ever go back to the way it was before the war. But I did like the final Best Picture nominee just a little bit more. Coming Home is at number 4. This one is also about the Vietnam War and features Academy Award-winning performances from Jon Voight and Jane Fonda. Volunteering at the VA hospital with paraplegic veterans gives Fonda's character a much more complicated view of the war than that of her idealistic husband who had just left to begin his tour of duty. No punches are pulled, but it's still a tender movie that earns every emotion it draws out of you. The soundtrack is iconic, particularly in the dramatic closing moments set to Tim Buckley's song Once I Was. These final 3 films are great examples of why I don't call these the best movies of the year, but rather my personal favorites, because these are arguably some non-traditional selections saturated in childhood nostalgia. At number 3 is the Buddy Holly story, featuring the incomparable Gary Busey, who truly gives a unique take on the lead character. As a kid, I loved this movie. It was the reason I became fascinated with Buddy Holly as an artist. It may not be the best written, the best acted, or the most historically accurate rock and roll biopic, but it still remains one of my favorites. Superman takes the number 2 spot. This was the first of 4 movies featuring Christopher Reeve in the iconic lead role. Bringing the other characters to life are Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, Margot Kidder, Ned Beatty, and many others. Despite the major advances we've made since then when it comes to special effects, this film still really impresses me. And finally, my favorite film of 1978 is Grease. The iconic performances of John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, These anchor this musical adventure. It's such a classic, filled with memorable songs, including those from the original stage show, like Summer Nights and We Go Together, as well as new ones written just for the film, like Hopelessly Devoted to You and You're the One That I Want. I fell in love with Olivia Newton-John as a result of seeing this film as a kid. I was devastated to hear of her recent passing. My prayers go out to her family, her friends, and her fans. And that's it. Tune in next time when we journey through the albums of 1978. I can't wait to share all of those with you as well. Thanks so much for watching. Now go pop some popcorn and watch some of these movies.